Someone has just said something that makes your temper surge. Every gaze is fixed on you, anticipating your move. Cutting remarks are poised to tumble off your tongue. Yet this is precisely the instant to recall an ageless lesson from the sages. The prudent don't prevail by out-yelling others. They succeed with calm, with the tool of reason, and with replies that quiet an adversary without ever lifting their voice. This isn't about retreating or showing frailty. It's about holding the purest kind of power, the ability to direct your own response. I'm not here to train you to quarrel or slice someone down. I'll show you how to end disputes with finesse, guard your self-respect, and at times even turn a rival into a partner. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The finest reply to wrath is deliberate silence." Today, I'll share 5 shrewd replies the Stoics have used for more than 2,000 years. The third is unusually potent because it flips an attack into self-revelation, making the aggressor see they've exposed more about themselves than about you. Stay tuned, tap that subscribe button, and let's grow wiser together. Response number 1. I see your point. Help me understand your reasoning. The strongest counter to aggression isn't a blade or a barbed remark. It's honest curiosity. When someone goes after your ideas or your character, rather than rushing to defend yourself or swing back, you answer with sincere interest in how they see it. This completely unsettles them because they came prepared for combat, not dialogue. I recall a strained team meeting some years ago. We were reviewing a proposal I had spent weeks investigating and shaping. Midway through my talk, a colleague cut in and declared, "You're totally disconnected from reality on this proposal. It's obvious you don't grasp the current market." My anger spiked instantly. I felt my face warm, and my first impulse was to justify everything, cite my research, list the experts I'd consulted. Instead, I took a slow breath and said, "I see your point, David. Could you walk me through your thinking? Which exact parts strike you as unrealistic?" The room fell silent. Everyone looked at David, waiting. Then something telling occurred. He began to falter. "Well, I mean, generally," he fished for specifics and couldn't find them. At last he conceded he hadn't read the full proposal carefully and was reacting from instinct. This reply works because it pushes a person from emotion to explanation. Many verbal attackers can't substantiate their claims when asked for details. They throw out foggy labels: unrealistic, naive, uninformed. But when you request precise reasons, they often discover there's little there. This is exactly what Socrates, deeply admired by the Stoics, excelled at. He said, "The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing." This approach reflects that humility. You admit you might have missed something and truly want to learn, while gently revealing gaps in the other person's knowledge, without hostility. The brilliance is that you shift from target to guide. Instead of being shoved onto the defensive, you steer the exchange by asking questions. Now they must substantiate their claim rather than you scrambling to defend yours. Psychologically, most attacks originate from feeling, not thought. The critique hasn't been reasoned through. By inviting their logic, you activate their rational mind, and often they recognize their jab was baseless. Use this response whenever you receive hazy criticism. Your tone is crucial. It must be authentic, not snide. If it sounds challenging or superior, the tactic backfires. Speak with genuine interest, like a learner. It's especially effective with habitual fault finders who judge quickly but dislike explaining themselves. It also shines in group settings. Observers see whether the critic has substance or was simply being contrary. You preserve your poise while offering the other person a chance either to contribute meaningfully or reveal a lack of depth. You're not counterattacking, You're asking them to support their words. Sometimes, though, their explanation proves valid. They may share solid reasons and real concerns. That's exactly when our second response becomes essential. Response number 2. You're absolutely right, and here's what I'm going to do about it. Sometimes the quickest way to prevail is a tactical concession. When someone identifies a genuine flaw or misstep, rather than offering excuses or getting defensive, you acknowledge it at once and outline your plan to correct it. This strips away their ammunition and flips the entire interaction. I encountered this in a client session I'll never forget. We'd partnered with them for roughly 6 months, and they'd noticed a pattern they disliked. In front of the whole group, the client said, "Your team has missed the deadline again. This is becoming a real pattern, and it's undermining our confidence in your ability to deliver." The tension was palpable. My team looked to me, likely expecting a list of legitimate reasons: scope shifts, technical hurdles, resource limits. And yes, those reasons existed. But instead of going there, I met the client's eyes and said, "You're absolutely right, and here's what I'm going to do about it. This week, I'm rolling out a new project tracking system to give us earlier visibility on potential slippage. I'll also send you progress summaries every Friday, so there are no surprises. And for this project, I'll personally own delivery to hit the revised date we set today." The atmosphere changed immediately. Their defensive stance eased. Rather than continuing to question our reliability, they began asking constructive questions about the new process. The remainder of the meeting shifted from defending the past to building solutions. This approach works because critics usually want one of two outcomes: either to watch you wriggle and justify, proving their doubts, or to see you recognize the issue and fix it. Choose the second, and you convert criticism into cooperation. The psychological effect is powerful. People anticipate defensiveness when they raise problems. They're braced for a tussle, for rationales and blame. When you instead take full responsibility and present concrete steps, you demonstrate maturity and leadership that earn respect rather than erode it. Epictetus advised, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Immediate ownership communicates wisdom and strength better than any defense. It shows you prioritize solutions over ego. A crucial caveat: use this only when the critique is valid. If the charge is unfair or outside your control, this response doesn't fit. Its force comes from accepting reality promptly when you're genuinely at fault and acting without delay. What makes it so disarming is that it removes the complainer's core grievance. They raise the issue to see it resolved. When you commit to resolution on the spot, the conflict evaporates. There's nothing left to quarrel about. This turns detractors into collaborators with surprising speed. Instead of sparring over whether a problem exists, you become partners addressing it. The person who challenged you often becomes a supporter because you listened and moved. Yet not every jab rests on fair ground. Some people provoke simply to provoke, requiring a different tactic, which leads to our third reply. Response number 3. That's an interesting perspective. What made you think of it? The most graceful way to still a provocateur is to let them uncover themselves. When someone tosses a barbed or belittling remark, you answer with calm interest in their motive. That nudges them either to concede they're being unreasonable or to sink further into a stance they cannot defend. I watched this done flawlessly at a dinner last year. A friend, call her Rachel, is a freelance designer who has built a thriving practice over 10 years. Partway through the evening, a newcomer dropped a cutting line. Freelancing must be easy, basically getting paid to tinker on a computer all day with no real responsibility. The intent to needle her was obvious. Everyone felt it, Rachel could have pushed back. She could have reeled off her portfolio, client list, and long nights. Instead, she offered a genuine smile and said, "That's an interesting perspective. What led you there?" He froze for a beat, clearly unprepared. "Well, I mean, it seems..." He groped for words that didn't expose him as petty or uninformed. Eventually, he admitted, "I guess I don't really know what freelance design involves." In that moment, the entire table saw him broadcast his own ignorance. This reply is brilliant because it sounds sincerely curious while quietly revealing the hollowness or hidden bias behind the comment. They set out to attack you, but end up indicting themselves. You hand them the rope, and they do the rest. The charm lies in its innocence. You're not sarcastic or combative. You appear to be genuinely exploring how they formed their view. Yet psychologically, you're prompting them to examine and articulate their thinking. And most provocative claims wither under that kind of light. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This line captures the spirit precisely. While they try to drag you into pettiness, you stay composed, inquisitive, and poised. The contrast is obvious to everyone watching. The key, again, is delivery. You must sound genuinely curious, not arch or mocking. Let their words, not your attitude, do the exposing. If there's even a hint of ridicule in your tone, the move turns into a counterattack rather than an invitation to reflect. This tactic shines with people who assert without evidence, those speaking from assumption or prejudice instead of knowledge. It works anywhere. The office, social events, even family gatherings where someone crosses a line. What follows is usually one of two paths. They realize they were unfair and pull back, or they double down and reveal even more of their bias. Either way, you don't fight. You win by not engaging at their level. Often the person hasn't thought through why they said it. They're reacting from emotion or an unexamined narrative. When you ask them to trace their reasoning, many discover they lack a real basis. Still, you'll sometimes meet someone who won't yield to logic, curiosity, or the embarrassment of their own flimsy stance. They're set on being difficult, regardless of your grace. That's when you move to the fourth response. Response number 4. I appreciate you sharing that with me. Few things cool hostility like unexpected gratitude. When you're met with insults, complaints, or stern criticism, respond with sincere thanks for their candor. This flips the energy from clash to conversation and often leaves the other person unsure whether to keep pressing. This approach rescued what could have turned into a disaster with my neighbor about 2 years back. I'd just adopted a rescue dog, and apparently he was barking in the early mornings while I was away. I had no clue until my neighbor confronted me one evening. He strode across the lawn as I grabbed the mail and shouted, "Your dog is making the whole block crazy. He barks non-stop from 6 a.m. until you return. It's inconsiderate, and some of us are thinking about calling animal control." My reflex was to defend myself, to explain I'd recently adopted him, that I was working on it, that he could have approached me more politely. Instead, I drew a breath and said, "I really appreciate you telling me. I didn't realize this was happening, and I'm genuinely glad you came to me directly, rather than letting the frustration build." His demeanor shifted instantly. His shoulders eased, his voice softened, and suddenly we weren't opponents. We were neighbors tackling a shared problem. He began offering training tips, shared his own experiences with pets, and even recommended a local trainer who'd helped his sister. What started as a heated confrontation ended with us exchanging numbers so he could text me if the barking returned. Why does this work? Because people anticipate defensiveness when they lodge complaints. They've usually rehearsed the exchange, bracing for excuses or counterattacks. When you answer with appreciation, you derail their script and nudge them into a collaborative frame of mind. Psychologically, harsh criticism often springs from frustration or a sense of powerlessness. By thanking them for being direct, you validate their feelings and treat them as someone whose input matters. That repositions them from adversary to helper. Seneca reminded us that every fresh start grows from the ending of something else. Your thanks closes the quarrel and opens cooperation. It shows you're steady enough to receive feedback without bristling, even when it's clumsily delivered. The key is discerning motive. This shines when the other person has a legitimate concern but expresses it badly. Your gratitude recognizes the useful intent while ignoring the rough edges. What's striking is how often this draws out people's better selves. Treat someone as reasonable and well-meaning, and many rise to meet that expectation. The neighbor who started out yelling about my dog became one of my most supportive allies in solving the issue. You'll be surprised how rapidly a person's tone improves when they feel heard and valued rather than attacked or dismissed. It's the difference between creating an enemy and building an ally around the very same problem. But what about those moments when none of your words land? When a person seems committed to being difficult, no matter how composed your response? That's when our final reply proves most effective. Response number 5, deliberate pause, then thank you for that perspective. At times, the strongest answer is the one framed by silence. When someone says something especially outrageous or cutting, you pause for a few seconds, meet their eyes, and then say calmly, thank you for that perspective. The stillness does most of the work. It makes everyone truly register what was said, while your gracious reply throws the gulf between their conduct and yours into sharp relief. I'll never forget how this preserved my reputation during a business pitch about 3 years ago. I was presenting a new marketing approach to a room of potential partners, including a few competitors. Things were going smoothly until one rival, clearly uneasy, tried to undercut me in public. Mid-explanation, he broke in. I'm not sure we should take marketing counsel from someone with such obviously limited experience. Maybe we ought to hear from someone who actually knows this field. The room froze. You could feel the improper aggression in his jab. The urge to defend my resume, recite achievements, even highlight his missteps, surged. Instead, I stopped, looked at him for what felt long, likely 3 seconds, and answered evenly, thank you for that perspective. The hush that followed was thunderous. His remark lingered like a bad odor everyone could suddenly detect. Chairs creaked. A few looked embarrassed on his behalf. I didn't need to list credentials. His own words, underscored by my pause, told the story of his judgment. The rest of the session went smoothly, and afterward, several attendees apologized for his behavior and said they admired my composure. We won the deal, partly because the committee felt he had displayed poor judgment and unprofessionalism. The pause is the linchpin. It suspends their words in the air so others can examine them. In those brief seconds, people process what was actually said and recognize the inappropriateness. Without the stillness, your reply might sound reflexive or snarky. With it, you model full emotional control. Your tone must be sincerely appreciative, not ironic. The goal isn't to needle them, but to demonstrate such poise that their attack looks small by comparison. You take the high road so clearly that everyone can see the difference in character. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond that counts. This line shows mastery over reaction. While they indulge their worst impulses, you display the discipline real strength requires. It's especially powerful in groups, where witnesses can contrast your steadiness with their hostility. It shifts attention from whether their point had merit to why they expressed it so poorly. Often the aggressor is left feeling foolish, realizing their true colors were on display. They expected fury, a counterpunch, or a defensive speech. Instead, your dignified restraint makes them look small, without you uttering a single unkind word. What makes this so effective is that it embodies a core Stoic truth. You can't control how others behave, only how you answer. By choosing grace over retaliation, patience over impulse, you earn respect that bluster never commands. Final words. These 5 replies share a single theme. They keep you governed by your own judgment while allowing others to display who they really are. That is the true strength of Stoic practice, not triumphing in debates, but preserving your honor regardless of how others behave. These 5 responses carry the same thread. You remain in command of yourself while others reveal their character. That's the real power of Stoicism, not scoring points in arguments, but holding your dignity no matter what they choose to do. If this message resonates, drop the affirmation in the comments. I will practice smart responses. Remember, the aim isn't to vanquish people in conversation. It's to safeguard your peace of mind and invite meaningful exchange whenever possible. When you answer with wisdom rather than impulse, you don't merely win the exchange. You earn respect and often turn friction into cooperation. The old Stoics knew that our reactions define us more than our circumstances. These approaches show that might isn't the loudest voice or the sharpest retort. Real power is choosing composure under strain. If this video helped you feel steadier in tough conversations, please give it a like so this message reaches those who need it. Subscribe to Stoic Fortuna to keep building the mental discipline that cultivates genuine respect and inner stillness. Your replies display your character. Choose them well.